Hey guys, haven't posted anything for quite a few months. There's been a lot of issues that I've had to work through, getting a cross compiler for the Raspberry Pi working on Ubuntu, and then facing issues with the touchscreen not working, which I eventually resolved, and the I2C bus was not working and needed some decoupling capacitors and different pull-up resistors. It takes so long to figure all this stuff out. I had some problems with the NeoPixel chain, and that wasn't working for different reasons. That actually turned out to be a cold solder joint, of all things. Just this week I've been working on the MIDI input and output, and it has been hard yakka. It sounded like a hardware fault for a while, and then I figured out that there was also software issues as well. Getting the Raspberry Pi UART to run at the MIDI baud rate is actually quite tricky. But anyway, you can do it in software, which is really good. Anyway, I'll show you where things are up to. So as you saw there, it was red initially, meaning that it was disconnected. It goes blue once it actually starts getting MIDI messages. Down here we've got our tempo LED blinking away. These are my preset buttons along here, 5 of them. It's currently on preset 1. So there's the firmware version. We punch the next button along. We go to preset number 2. Preset number 3. If you watch carefully, the name of the preset goes grey during the switch. So in here we can click into the different types of X-Effects blocks. You can set the scene that the button sets. Set the colour the LED can be for a particular IA block or IA button. Oh, there's more setup stuff in there. This is the guts of the box so far. There's the Raspberry Pi. This cable here is the I2C bus. Memory card with the operating system, the software on it. Is a standard power adapter for the Raspberry Pi. We've got this little cable here to run it into a chassis mount for the Raspberry Pi. So then we've got a ribbon cable running over to a breakout board here, just to make things easier for me. This board here is responsible for the MIDI ports. So this is a 7-pin MIDI cable going down to the X-Effects. So that's the MIDI in and the MIDI out. So this circuit's basically just exactly the same as the MC1. The only difference really here is that there's a level shifter. All of this stuff's running on 5 volt. It's a level shifter, and then the inputs and outputs run at 3.3 volt over to the Raspberry Pi's UART receive and send pins. This bit here is the input to the LED string. They're NeoPixels by Adafruit, and the bus just runs from here all the way around, across there, and all the way down here. Each of those NeoPixel has full RGB capability, and if you look carefully you can actually see underneath this plastic backplate that the LEDs go through a translucent diffuser that I've glued onto the back of the metal chassis. It also keeps all the dust and stuff out of the case. These foot switches are all connected to these GPIO expander chips which run on the I2C bus. The spare pins here are all for the various encoders and switches that go up here. This little subboard is actually the analog input, so eventually things like expression pedals will be plugged into these pins here. These are the LED ring boards that I made many moons ago. They run on SPI protocol, and each of those LEDs is actually capable of red, green and blue, although only full on and full off. They're not full true colour like the NeoPixels. So there's an encoder in the middle of that, and they're all wired up. Actually, it's actually a button as well, you can press it. So I'm hoping to maybe use that at some point. Because I've run out of SPI buses on the Raspberry Pi, I actually have to order a separate I2C to SPI bridge to run these, the LED ring part of it. But fortunately, the encoder output and the button output runs independently of all that, so I should be able to get these situated in the system and running even without the LEDs. So these guys fit in those gaps there, about there. So the case does actually get really full when all the hardware's in there. Somewhat concerned about the number of wires going everywhere.